In the early 20th century, the Rosenwald schools emerged as a beacon of hope for African American education in the segregated South. These schools were the result of a partnership between Julius Rosenwald, a philanthropist, and president of Sears Roebuck and Company, and Booker T. Washington, the renowned educator and leader of the Tuskegee Institute. The Rosenwald Fund provided matching grants to communities that raised funds and provided land for new schools. This innovative approach led to the construction of over 5,000 schools across 15 states, primarily in rural areas where educational opportunities for Black children were limited. Rosenwald schools were more than just buildings. They were the centers of community life and catalysts for progress. They provided a quality education that emphasized academic excellence, vocational training, and community involvement. Many graduates of Rosenwald schools went on to become leaders in their fields, including civil rights activists, educators, and artists. Today, Rosenwald schools stand as a testament to the resilience and determination of African American communities to overcome the obstacles of segregation and provide a brighter future for their children. Today, we have the distinct privilege of hearing from two individuals and two perspectives who have firsthand experience with the legacy of schools during the Rosenwald era.
Hello, my name is Mia Tensley, and I'm here on the behalf of Pendleton Foundation for Black History and Culture. I'm here with Miss Ernestine Woolridge, a former teacher at Mountain Spring School, a Rosenwald school, and also Reverend Curtis Hill, who is a former student of Mountain Spring School. Our goal today is to capture the intertwined experiences and recollections to paint a richer picture of this important chapter in American history.
Ms. Woolridge and Reverend Hill, thank you both for joining us today. It is quite an honor and a pleasure.
Could you each tell me a little bit about your background and how you came to be connected to Mountain Spring School?
Well, I was a student at Mountain Spring from first grade to eighth grade. And after finishing eighth grade, they transferred us to Riverside High School in Pendleton.
So, Miss Woolridge, what motivated you to become a teacher and what led you to Mountain Spring School?
Okay. Well, I enjoyed teaching, and I was around the first grade teacher in Anderson, South Carolina, and I walked around and saw how she was teaching, and I decided I wanted to be a teacher then.
So you saw
My first grade teacher.
Your first grade teacher, and she inspired you to also become a teacher. Oh, wow. Your teacher training. So as a result of seeing your first grade teacher, you were willing to go through the teacher training and you had a love for teaching children.
Yes, I did.
Outstanding.
I enjoyed it. I had to talk to children different times in the morning and in the afternoon before they left.
Yeah. So greeting students as they came in, and then you were able to send them off.
Yeah.
And then also
see them going out the door. And stay up there. So I taught Ophelia Kemp.
Yeah.
I taught her in first grade.
Yeah. So and so you kind of spoke with that. So was that the Rosenwald School, the fact that it was a Rosenwald school and it catered and supported children, did that motivate you as well to teach there at Mountain Spring?
Yes, it did.
Yeah. Okay.
I know a lot of people from that district.
Oh, so a lot of people from the district, it was more like a connected community there?
Community.
Outstanding.
Now, the next question is for Reverend Hill. What was your family life like during your childhood, and how did education fit into your family's values?
We actually lived about 3 miles from Mountain Spring School. we were farmers, my mother and father. My father and his sisters all had farms in the same location. But one of the things that the Hills did, they stressed the fact that all of us needed to get an education when you had the opportunity. So education has been and always will be a factor in the Hill family. They pushed it. My father and mother went to 6th grade, but they wanted to make sure that their children did better. And so, along with my father and his entire family, they always stressed the fact that you needed to get an education no matter what you did. So that was a big factor in our family.
Outstanding.
Could you each describe your first impressions of Mountain Spring School?
Well, when you're 6 years old, everything seemed huge. Not being used to brick buildings. So when I went into Mountain Spring, it was just huge and a big factor. You know, you've got these classrooms and big blackboards, and so it was just exciting to be there. And then they had the cafeteria, the lunchroom. So that was just an exciting time to even be over there at that school. Yeah.
And Ms. Woolridge, what were your thoughts of the school?
Oh my goodness. I just can't think of much. But I went, Mr. Grove, he was there, and Mr. Carter, and I went in as a 1st grade teacher. And I had been up there. I was born later on in Kendall, and had a good day.
Now, next, I know that perspective will be different for teacher and student. So could you tell me a little bit about a typical day at Mountain Spring School? Could you describe the daily routine and curriculum?
Well, for us, when we would get there, of course, back then we were having devotions.
Yes.
So you would have a devotion before you started your class. You would do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, and then you would start your daily routine. And of course, I always, as a kid, be looking forward to lunch. So lunch or recess. So that was a fun part of the day, being out playing with other children that you didn't see often. So that was exciting.
So curriculum, did you have to develop it, or did they have a set curriculum that they gave to you to teach?
They had a set curriculum.
A set curriculum.
In 1st grade, I had 1st and 2nd grade.
Okay.
I taught both of them.
Next question will be for Reverend Hill. What were some of the most memorable moments or experiences you had at Mountain Spring School?
Well, you know, learning to spell my name, Curtis, and the emphasis that my father put on Hill all the time. So Curtis Hill was that was big, and then getting into the math classes and English. You know, we had all of the things that you would use to get set up to get you started. So those were memorable times. I knew I didn't like math. I didn't like the math class, but it was something that the teachers always told us that we would need.
Yes.
So you had to deal with it, whether you liked it or not. Every class was not a class that you were going to be excited about.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a life lesson.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
isn't
Yeah.
it?
So next question ties right in. How would you describe the relationship amongst students, teachers, and community at Mountain Springs School?
Being that it wasn't many folk, we were all like family.
Yes.
One of the things that I did discover that the parents had a relationship with all of these teachers. So if you act up, it was easy for them to. Well, you didn't know they were sending a note, but they'd send a note, and you carried the note home, and your parents read it. So you carried your own trouble You're the toll on your own self. Yeah, so, and then the teachers would sit down and talk with the parents. And so you couldn't get away with anything. That was the kind of relationship, yeah. And everybody was, if they were in that community, they was tied into that school and that church. Yeah, so it was, can't get away. No escape.
Was that important? Did you find that to be important to be able to discipline?
Yes, I did, because I wasn't a member of that. I was from Anderson, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And I come up, and I enjoyed it, and well, different people. Some of my family was up that way, and I learned the names and different things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the next question is for Reverend Hill. Were there specific teachers or mentors that had a profound impact on your life?
Well, Miss Blassingame was my first grade teacher, and I got to the point where I said I couldn't remember my ABCs and stuff. But now back then they was allowed to pedal, you know. Yeah, spank you with that ruler. Yeah, and so you know if you missed it, you got a pop. And so she put a lot of emphasis on that. Miss Woodruff came. I had already gotten out of the second grade by the time she came. I was somewhere in the third grade when Miss Woodruff came to the school. So the principal, Mr. Grove, had a lot of impact on us. He was always dressed up with his necktie and always dressed nice. And, you know, so we really looked up to him because that signified that, to us that he was special. And he was in charge. So that did impress me.
So, Ms. Woolridge, and I know this was a time ago, but were there any students that kind of stood out to you? Any students that kind of stayed in contact with you throughout the years?
Yeah, I had Ophelia Kemp. She was one, and I had another little.
Ophelia Kemp. And was there anyone else? I'm happy you were Ophelia.
I was trying to think of some of the others. I had first and second grade, and I'm trying to think of somebody in second grade. And Linda Adger. And Philo, I had them. I had first and second grade, and some on second grade, some on first grade. I'm mixing them all together.
And I heard Mary Greenlee. Is that
yeah, Mary Greenlee.
Outstanding. That's nice. Those are bonds that have lasted across the years.
Now, you've spoken a little bit about this before, but what were the social and educational, what was that environment like for African American students during the time of Mountain Spring School?
I remember us getting secondhand everything. You know, you didn't see new materials. The stuff that you got was already worn, rolled over, torn. So, you know, if we came across a very nice book, that was a rarity.
Yes.
Our buses were hand-me-down, and so it looked like they was piecemeal, but you were fortunate to even have that because the times were hard, and so we were always taught that it was a blessing. Whatever you had was a blessing, and we was grateful for that.
How did Mountain Spring School address the challenges and limitations imposed by segregation?
Well, when you was at Mountain Spring, we didn't have to deal with that. It hadn't come about yet. It was after the school, after I left Mountain Spring, and a few years later that it came about. And when it did come about, they closed Mountain Spring down and sent everybody to Mount Lebanon. Went over to Lebanon Elementary, and of course we were in high school by then. Integration took place, not by choice so much, but mandate.
Yeah.
So it was a mandated thing, and we all went in the various places we needed to go.
So did you see that because attending Mountain Springs separately was due to segregation.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things you've spoken to, like materials,
Right.
they were of a lesser quality are used. Did you see any other things that you found to be impactful on your school due to segregation?
Well, the thing about it, when we were at Mountain Spring, there was a closeness, not only among the teachers and our parents, but it was just the community. And so it was as if they understood that it took a village. And so when that we were locked in then, but when they integrated, there was a scattering of all of that because hostilities and of all of that. So we entered into a whole different world.
Since both of your experiences were shaped by the educational landscape of the Rosenwald era, did you interact with other Rosenwald schools or communities? Did you share a sense of mission or connectivity with the other schools?
Well, at that age, I wasn't aware
Right.
of Rosenwald schools, but it was more like the communities did connect.
Yes.
You know, we had various communities functions that would connect with other communities, and it was all through the church.
Yeah.
You know, so if I went up, like my neighbor had a Rosenwald school, but if you went into that area, it was because of my neighbor's church, and so that was the connection through the churches in the community. Yeah.
Did the teachers ever connect with the other schools? Did you ever talk with the other teachers, or you're most of the teachers at your school?
I talk with both, but I have from Anderson, South Carolina.
Yes.
And I had one teacher that I rode to school with, and I had first and second grade. And we all sit there and talk together about different things in
Yes.
Anderson.
So you were just kind of talking about this, Reverend Hill.
You graduated from Mountain Springs and started high school at Riverdale. In 1971, during your senior year, you transitioned to Pendleton High School. This was a time of great change in education, as schools were desegregating. Could you share your memories of that transition, the emotions you felt, and how it affected your education and your life?
Well, when we left Riverside, there again, we were used to community. And so when we went to Pendleton High School, it's a whole different outlook because you had to get adjusted to what was going on. And then that was the feeling of not being wanted. So I spent a year of trying to settle down after protest. It was a traumatic time because kind of traumatizing. You wanted to be with your friends, but your friends were in other classes.
Yes.
And so, but we got through it by the grace of God. But the thing that it did do was make me want to take a break from school. When my parents, I told you my parents pushed education. When I did finish Riverside, mother had everything set up. Parents had everything set up for me to go to Marsh College.
Yes.
And but I told her I can't go nowhere. I can't go back to school right now. So I waited a little while before I started back to school.
Yes.
And about a year later, I started at Tri-County Tech.
Yes.
I attended Anderson College, and of course I transferred and went to Shaw University and graduated from Shaw University. Left Shaw and graduated from Clemson University. And I left Clemson and I graduated from Covington Theological Seminary. All started at Mountain Spring.
That's right.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk a bit about legacy, because you seemed like we were ready to move into it. So we want to look back and kind of talk about what you believe is the most significant impact of Mountain Spring School on your lives and on the African American community.
Well, one of the things is that there has to be a foundation in every child's life, Mountain Spring was my foundation. It put inside of me a spirit of connectivity, wherein I knew I needed to be connected to folk around me. And it also instilled the fact that people can take things and stuff away from you. They can't take your education away from you. So no matter what you encounter, you have to be determined. The time that was broke when I got out of high school, nobody did that but me because I needed a break.
Yeah.
But then you also, after the break, you start being aware, because my mother and father was always on us, my sister and myself, about being in school. So I formed this idea of you need to always be accused of going to school, and while you're doing it, get understanding, and all of you get understanding. Through all of the stuff that Mr. Grove would be telling us, Mr. Grove would tell us that there was coming a day that you couldn't get a job without an education.
Yes.
And the day did come. You know, I went in the cotton mill when I left high school, and I discovered, boy, it's got to be something better than this, better than this, because that was some hard labor. That's what I've learned, that you need to make preparation for the future. And that's what I've tried to instill in my own children, my grandchildren, my great grands are just that they're just coming on scene. Well, we're working on them now. But in the church, it behooves every pastor to push the young people towards education.
And that is a legacy, what you just spoke of, the passing down.
Yes.
That desire and that knowledge, from generation to generation, knowing that education is a value, it's a strong value, it's a requirement. As you mentioned, it's required to be employed.
Yes.
And especially, as you also mentioned, if you would like to not be employed in hard labor.
Yes. Yeah.
So all those were life lessons that you've passed on, even now, as you mentioned, to your grandchildren.
Right.
So outstanding.
How do you feel about the preservation of Mountain Spring School's history and the efforts to document its legacy and other schools that are Rosenwald schools?
And when they look back through the lens of history and time, the children will understand that these schools are the reason that they're where they are now. Had not they been afforded, our ancestors been afforded the opportunities to further their education, they would have never had the forethought to push others. Each one teach one. Each one should be trying to reach one. And so it's important, it's imperative now that we don't stop reaching and we don't stop teaching, because we are living in a time where everything is evolving. That used to be, you don't have to kick it to the side, but you need to build on it. And so that's what each generation ought to be striving to do. I don't have to wipe out my past.
Yes.
I need to build on my past. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. The wheel was necessary.
That's right.
And so instead of trying to reinvent it, I can improve it as I make my journey. Life ought to be better for each generation. And so as I look at these Rosenwald schools, it makes me know that it took a lot of work to get where we are. This replica that I'm sitting in, it is an asset to the community and to future generation. Because when my little great granddaughter comes along, and she's 3 years old, she comes along and says, Papa was in this. He came through these times. And so they know it's real.
Right.
I look at my young people, my children. They never saw any cotton on our farm, but our farm is out there, and they live on the farm, and they walk through these roads on the farm. But that cotton was real, and so all that my parents did, that farming and all of the labor they put in, my children and grandchildren are reaping the harvest.
Yes.
And that's what people have to understand. You are because they were.
I think that's an excellent message for future generations to take from the Rosenwald schools and from Mountain Spring. That's an outstanding message. You've talked about this. You talked about, firstly, leaving high school, taking what they call now, they didn't have a term for it then, but a gap year.
Yeah, yes.
And you kind of figured out what you wanted to do. You saw what, like more difficult labor was like. It's like education was the way, and you just continued through multiple schools. You said you started with Tri-County.
Yes.
You went to Anderson College.
Yes.
And then where from there? Shaw?
I went to Shaw University.
Shaw University.
Yeah.
And then you continued on to...
Went to Clemson University.
Went to Clemson University.
I graduated from Clemson in community education.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
And so that you really have taken care of where it talks about how was your experience at Mountain Spring shaped both your path, particularly your decisions, but then also how was it influential on you becoming a member of the clergy, becoming a reverend? Because you spoke to the tight connections to the churches that the schools had. Did you feel that had any connection?
Well, the pastoring was far, far from my mindset. But my parents were Christians, and they raised me in a Christian setting, and they kept me in church.
Yes.
Well, I always liked history, and so the teachings of the church, the stories, I was intrigued with that, and so I did a lot of singing. I was a choir director, and so I through all of that, the Lord spoke to my spirit, and I tried to get away from that, but here I am, 40 years later. I've been pastoring New Holland Light Missionary Baptist Church for 44 years, and so but all of that came by way of Mountain Spring School, Mountain Spring Baptist Church, all connected. Yeah, the community. Most of these schools were centered around a church. It would be in the proximity of a church, and those church folks would raise money to help build those schools, which in turn mean there had to be a buy-in from the community. Yeah. Rosenwald was the catalyst that started it, but even at that, those persons that owned property would put in timber. Give what they could.
That's right.
So
That's right.
not only them, but the county.
Yes.
So an effort from everybody working to make this come to fruition. And that's why you wind up with all of these buildings and with people getting education, and it moves into the future.
Yes.
So it takes a village and a community.
Yes.
So community effort from everybody. And here I am.
So we want to look kind of present thinking and future thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So the next question is, what are your thoughts on the progress of educational opportunities for African Americans since the time of Mountain Spring?
I've said to young people, everybody is not called to go to a 4-year school, but you ought to be certified in something. If you whatever it is that you like, then get some papers and give it your best, give it your 100%, whatever it is, and learn to do it the best and be the best that you can be at whatever it is that you're doing.
So I want to say, and you can see Reverend Hill sitting here, and he's sharing his experiences, and I just want you to know it's because of you and the teachers there.
Yes.
It's laid the foundation.
Yes.
For him and so many others, and that is something to just to hold dear to your heart, and
Yes.
especially the ones that,
Yeah.
the ones that even over these many years that you kept in contact with, that let you know the impact that you made on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to thank both of you sharing your incredible stories and insights. Your combined perspectives have enriched our understanding of Mountain Spring School and its lasting impact, very lasting impact. We're deeply grateful for your time and contributions to the essential work of preserving history for posterity. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.